when you start working with it. Before I go into closing this, I guess, parenthesis on Bavarian Nordic, this is sort of a generic again, right? It's our roadmap to world class. It's Bavarian Nordic roadmap to world class. And any roadmap to world class is usually on a similar principle. And there's still the lean principles in there too. But in the end, again, right? So stages you go through a period of time. But now I'm really honest with you here. I have a huge problem, right? I'm standing at the far left of this one, even outside kind of that stabilize. You guys talked about perform and transform and improve and innovate. We are barely holding on to, right? We are barely stabilizing the business enough to even talk about those things, right? And I'm invited to a conference and should sort of present the good practice, right? That sucks. But I have something good to tell you. I was once on the other side of that equation there, world class. I was 11 years in a company and went through that. It was a 5 years roadmap to get to world class. In the end, it was 10 years, right? But still, we get there, right? We got there. There's still world class. There's still leaders in the field, which is beautiful to have done that once. But I could now tell that story again, which I did in Amsterdam 10 years ago, how we got to world class and all the measurements we did and the assessments criteria and yada, yada, yada. But I don't want to do that because that's not where I stand today. So I said, let me close this conversation on Bavarian Nordic and give some personal reflection, right? It's a bit a tricky thing to do in a conference like this because it shouldn't be too personal either, right? We shouldn't be professionals. It should be not the context in the company. But I don't want to fool you either, right? Let's make this engaging and I give you something personal, right? And you can always claim this is Florian who said that, and it wasn't Bavarian Nordic who said that, right? Gives a bit more liberty and a bit more freedom and can be a bit more provocative. But this is sort of one of those slides I try to give folks, you know, to just remember. Important, and we talked about in different slides as well. Have a vision, beautiful slide this morning, right? Having the vision. I still wonder why it's the moon and not the sun, but doesn't matter. Others have suns, right? So the other ones have the, if that is not there, then you will have confusion, right? So if you do not have a vision, then you will have confusion because people don't know where the hell are we going, right? So that's the first one to focus on. If you do not have the skills, then you get anxiety because people do not know what to do. Right? Some of you talked about try to solve exactly that issue. What is even the skill there? Hasn't been documented before. Great. You do that now. You take out that anxiety if people believe that everything falls together, right? The third one, slowness if you don't have incentives. And incentives, and we'll talk about incentives in a moment, right? It's not just money. I will get to that in a moment. If the resources are not there, and I can tell in Bavarian Nordic, it's a bit like that, and I don't want to blame a company, and I'm sure depending on the macroeconomics you are working within, you don't always have the resources, right? And then there will inevitably be frustration because those people are overburdened, right? The principle of Muri for the lean experts, right? So that's what happens. People are stacked more and more on their shoulders, the existing ones. So you will have the frustration. If there is no plan, yes, you will have correction, right? So you need all of those things to have a successful renewal. And I want to